Oh, let's do it. Yep.
As
I'm ready.
always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
How about OU men's hoops?
Let's
Right?
go.
Got the W. You absolutely have to hold serve at home in this conference this year. You got to win the games that you're supposed to at home. Got to win over West Virginia. They look solid. Sherfield looked good. Just got some good play scattered around the roster. I thought I loved seeing Porter Moser get hot. That's the maddest I've ever seen him in that game.
He kind of like puffed up. That ref came over and Porter gave him what do you want to do? What do you want? What do you want to do? And I get my favorite Porter Moser is when he gets that crazy look in his eye. And he had it. That was good. I thought the charge was a good call, but he did it and he lost it, and I loved it.
Yeah, that was wild. Was Fraschilla on the call? Is that who it was?
I don't remember. I had T-Row on.
Okay. I was kind of watching and coming in and out of the room, and he's like, not that bad of a call. And then there's a call like at 30 seconds later. He's like, now that's a worse call. That's one you could get mad at. But that was fun seeing him all lamped up. But I thought it was awesome. Good all around win for the Sooners over West Virginia. West Virginia struggled a bit, but you got to be able to lock those games up whenever you have opportunities in this conference.
No doubt. I know the Sooner faithful probably got a little nervous there at the end of that game. Could never get as big a separation, or at least maintain the separation, right? And credit to West Virginia for continuing to battle back. But also, dude, West Virginia's late game execution. Missed free throws. They were down 2. And what the hell was that shot they took on that last possession? Not the last possession. The last possession was a meaningless 3 that ended up having West Virginia cover the spread, which significant to some.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that I didn't think West Virginia operated well in the last minute or so.
It's wild. It's been tough. West Virginia over like the last 3, maybe 4 years they've turned south. Typically, whenever they first came to this conference, they were a handful every single year, but seems like things have slowly started to slip there on the court, and it's tough, man. It's tough once you start to lose it for an entire 4-year cycle, kind of like they have. It's tough to claw out of it, but they got a good coach. We'll see what the future is, but they're having a rough year. This is not an easy conference to have a rough year.
Yeah, and they missed free throws. Jalen Hill hit his free throws, and I did think
good. I like Jalen Hill this year's been really solid.
You kind of know what you're getting with him, right? Dude's going to play hard. He's going to score when he gets his opportunity. He's going to guard at a high level. But I did think, I know a lot of OU fans, they've kind of complained about how the offenses looked, especially late in games, but I thought they looked better offensively.
Yeah.
Some more movement, looked a little more fluid, right? Shared the ball. And we talked about this earlier in the year. They don't get a lot of easy baskets. They had some, right? Had some dunks, had some backdoor cuts, laying in. I thought it looked better. And then, dude, Sherfield, that dude could just pull up. He can get buckets, man. He's fun to watch.
Yep. Really like him a lot. But yeah, you're right, man. It had a totally different feel to it. Being able to catch it in the paint and go in for an easy dunk on a little give and go type of play, just it makes the stress level go way down, where you're not grinding over every single offensive possession trying to hit contested shots. It's tough.
Yeah, I know Sherfield is the big name, right? And he's the leading scorer. And he's earned that. I love Uzan.
Yeah.
He had some blow-bys in that game. I like how he pushes it in transition when he gets the rebound off the defensive glass. This is the nicest compliment I can give him. He moves like an NBA player.
Yeah.
And I love how he can push the pace. And I'm very excited about his future in the program. Give me all the Uzan, baby. I like it.
Nope, he's a stud. And I feel like he's, and you get this with the transfer. It's kind of the transfer portal era now. So I think it could take a little bit maybe for guys to kind of find their role and exactly their comfort zone and all of that stuff. And it feels like he's finally starting to find that in this offense and on this team. So yeah, I agree. Looking solid, man. You're still going to be holding on to your butts this season in this conference, but that was a good win. Needed it.
I'll say this, Uzan, if we could franchise tag one player, that's who I'm using it on.
Yeah. I like that.
Protect portal protection.
That's actually a good idea. You have a handful of guys that you can protect from the portal. Nope, you're not transferring.
It's like an expansion draft. Like, no, you can't touch him.
That's awesome.
Put the portal protection on Uzan, Porter. Come on. Do what we got to do to keep that guy in Norman. He's fun to watch. All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
Man, I had to go with Iowa State fans. They have to be watching Brock Purdy and saying, where the hell was this guy? Just unbelievable. Steps in, no big deal, hasn't lost a game yet. First playoff start, and what's he rip like? Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air. LeBron James is tweeting about him. Everyone on the team says he's just a bona fide superstar. It's like, that has to be frustrating as hell for Iowa State fans, right? Not that he was bad at Iowa State. I mean, he broke a lot of their records, but in the big moments, in like some of the playoff type of games that they were in, he cost them. It's got to be frustrating.
They went, because they lost the bowl game, right? His senior year?
Yeah.
They went 7-6. With Purdy, Breece Hall, who if he doesn't blow his knee out, I think he was going to be the rookie of the year. With Kolar, with Mike Rose, with all those guys. Their most talented team ever, with Purdy at the helm, 7-6.
It's crazy.
And he looks like there now has to be a very real conversation for John Lynch and the leadership there in San Francisco about what they're going to do with Trey Lance. And I was looking at some of the stuff Orlovsky put out about Purdy, right? And I don't think anyone does a better job than Dan at putting stuff out and, showing you stuff about playing the quarterback position. I mean, Purdy's going through his progressions. He's going 1, 2, 3, 4, like in 2 seconds. Like he knows exactly what he's looking at, where the ball's supposed to go with what coverage dictates. And like, I can't believe it, man. Like he's playing so damn good. He had some nerves early in that game, but settled in and tore the Seahawks apart, tore them apart.
This is one of those situations where you have a awesome football team with a great roster, really good on the offensive line, great skill position players, an excellent defense, right? And your quarterback position has been a roller coaster. Now you've got a young kid in there getting his first starts. So as a coordinator, you pull everything back. Let's keep it simple. We'll rely on our playmakers. We're not going to put him in positions where he can kill us. We're going to stay conservative. And it works. And it works, and it works, and it works. Right? And you take it really far. And then you pay this kid a bunch of money, right? You can't afford, because of the quarterback, to keep everyone else. The roster dips. And now that you're paying a star, you got to ask way more of him. So you put more on the quarterback. You don't have as good of a supporting cast, and it turns into a disaster. I've seen this play out over and over and over again. Hopefully that's not what they do there at San Francisco. But because of the quarterback position and how much money it costs, there's really not a whole lot you can do to avoid it.
Just imagine hearing this statement. The 49ers should really think hard about trading Trey Lance and building around Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Like, that's now a very real conversation.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know what's going to happen
everywhere else to continue, like, pay those stars. And while Purdy's on his rookie deal, you do what you can, and then the fun will be over. At some point, you'll either have to pay him, like, assuming he can keep up some solid play, you're going to have to pay him and not pay everyone else, or pay everyone else and get rid of him and try and bring in a new young guy.
The interesting thing is, because they got him with the last pick of the draft and he wasn't an undrafted guy, that means he's on a 4-year deal and not a 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, them saying, you know what, we'll take it with the last pick.
It's potentially maybe the greatest thing ever for their franchise over the next 3 years.
Unbelievable. Good for him, by the way. Like,
yeah.
I always thought he was a very likable guy. He just always had just some crippling mistakes for that, but
he's got some great skills.
He's been awesome. I mean, awesome. He's undefeated as a starter. And a lot of people think he could take the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Oh, my. Yeah, you're right, though. Iowa State fans have to be in some type of pain. Like, I'm sure they're excited for him. Like, that's our guy. Look at him go. But they're also like, they went 7-6 with this guy.
But, I love the offense. That offense is a traditional, like, pro style offense. And there's some wrinkles in there, obviously some newer type of concepts, but there's a lot of stuff that just makes it really easy on play action, boot, just some traditional type of offense. And, when you protect it really well and you've got absolute stars at all of the skill position, you don't have to do a whole hell of a lot.
Well, it's been working. We'll see if it keeps working, but yeah. Brock Purdy, how about that? All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all, whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone. Everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. Make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information.
And if you're a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage single malt whiskey. It was voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. Also, you got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey.
It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that is why it is won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year-round. Remember, in 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnny Walker and Macallan. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. Update on Balcones, Ted. They just sold to a big beverage company. We have been in contact with the new ownership, and we are trying to extend the sponsorship. Those negotiations hopefully will take place this week. But the fancy corn line is in. We'll see how it goes, man.
Okay. Nervous times.
So, listeners, if you would like to tweet at Balcones and say, you guys need to stay on as sponsors of the podcast, that I think that would be helpful. I'm assuming, right? But I don't think it would hurt anything. But yeah, we are hopefully going to have a meeting with new ownership sometime this week. So nice. We'll see.
Very cool.
We'll see. But yeah, so good, exciting news for Balcones. But the sponsorship of the podcast it's up in the air. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. We will see.
All right, for my winner of the weekend, I thought about going with Kliff Kingsbury. I love this story, man. Got fired. Not great, right? But signed an extension in March. So you have to assume he's getting a solid buyout from the Cardinals. right? And I know there's some language in buyouts like, hey, you have to actively seek other work, right? You can't just sit and chill and collect a check. Like you have to be in conversation, that type of stuff. So I'm sure he'll get to that at some point. But Peter Schrager reported that multiple teams have contacted Kliff to be their OC. And he bought a one-way ticket to Thailand, has told teams, hey, not now, guys. I'm going to go on this trip. I'll see you later. I think it's so awesome. Like some coaches, they just jump right back in. They don't take any time or anything like that. I love Kliff Kingsbury. Just like, no, I'm going to Thailand. I don't know when I'm coming back. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I love that, man. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's what we all strive for, right? To be able to, be wanted. A lot of people still want your services, and you're like, no, you know what? I'm going to take a month-long, 2-month-long, however long I need to recharge the batteries before I come back and decide to do anything. So, yeah, what, just Kliff and the Instagram model girlfriend going to Thailand?
I don't know if he brought sand to the beach or not, man. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's great.
This is the way I'll put it. Either way, Kliff's not going to be hurting in that department there on the beaches in Thailand. I'm fully confident that he will be able to have a good time, if you will. I'm not worried about him, but I'm interested to see if he comes back after some type of like spiritual journey or something over there. I look forward to that. He's going to have an awesome tan. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, rough year for Kingsbury, for the Cardinals. You end up losing your job. Not great, but the story of just going over there with a one-way ticket is amazing.
Money. Love it.
All right. But my winner of the weekend, and I debated whether to make the Jags my winner or the Chargers my loser. I'm going to go ahead and give the Jags some credit. The Jacksonville Jaguars are my winner of the weekend. They were terrible in the first half, right? Fell in a 27-0 hole. And Trevor Lawrence's 4 interceptions clearly had a lot to do with that, but it was not looking good, man. They were at home. They were getting embarrassed on their own field in their first playoff game in a long time. In front of their fans, they're down. They're the guy that everyone thinks is that is kind of the face of the organization moving forward. Like, hey, he's figured it out in year 2. Looked awful, but they never wavered.
No.
And Trevor Lawrence, he got that thing back on the tracks before the half, man. And I don't know what Doug Peterson said at halftime, but they kept rolling. Last 5 possessions for the Jags. They had the touchdown before the half, touchdown, game-winning field goal. It's really impressive, like to play that bad and to get smacked in the face on your own field in that situation and to keep pushing and not pack it in. That was impressive, man. I'm going to give them the credit they deserve.
Yeah, and the time-consuming drives too, right? And it's like, they're moving the ball, but my goodness, they're running out of time. Didn't have a whole lot of like typically in a game like that, you're going to need a bunch of possessions to be able to come back, but they really didn't. And I don't know, Chargers, they get too tight. That was wild. It was an incredible comeback, and I'm happy for him. Doug Peterson, dude, he's done some awesome things in his career as a coach, and this is one of them.
Yeah, know several guys that have played for him. They love him. So the Jags become the first team in NFL playoff history to be -5 in turnover margin and win, which is insane.
It is.
To be -5 in any game in the NFL and win is insane, let alone a playoff game. It's the 3rd biggest comeback in the history of the NFL playoffs. And the only people that were excited about it were Al Michaels and Tony Dungy. Oh my God. What was that, man? Can we get some energy, boys? Just like there's this insane comeback happening and we got nothing. It was I'm not one to criticize broadcasters much because it's hard, right? It's a hard job, but oh man, everyone was complaining about it.
I agree, because I was watching the game in the living room and I was also like, messing around on my phone, watching some other stuff and reading some things. And I looked up and they're like lined up to kick the game-winning field goal. I was like, how has there been no excitement in on the call to like bring my attention back? Nothing has happened. It's just been blank.
It was
weird,
rather monotone, But you mentioned like the Chargers did what the Chargers have done, right? I felt for that fan base, man. It was like it was happening in slow motion, and you could see it falling apart for them. And it seems like a pretty significant overhaul is coming that organization's way. I can't imagine Brandon Staley survives that one, man. That is, and everyone's pointing at Sean Payton, especially with Justin Herbert and all those things. But there's got to be a coaching change after that disaster.
Probably, and this one's going to play out a little bit different than the old Denver Broncos situation is going to play out, right?
Yeah.
Like you got a young stud quarterback that you've got an opportunity to really capitalize on. Yeah, there's going to be some names if they're enter the coaching carousel, there's going to be some names that come up for that position for sure. Lincoln Riley will be one of them.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So people have been saying like this job is his since he took the USC job. So we'll see.
We'll see. All right, for my loser of the weekend, thought about going with Indiana Pacer Jalen Smith. Ted, did you see the Ja Morant dunk?
I did. And that had a good call. Like, that's what the call for the Jags-Chargers game should have sounded like.
Yes, screaming. Just loud, audible noises. Oh,
that was crazy. Yeah, that guy, he's got rocket fuel in his shoes.
He's worth the price of admission, man. And that's why, remember when he got ejected from the Thunder game? Refs got mad at me, man. Mad. But that dunk, I just feel for Jalen Smith a little bit. That dunk is going to be replayed until the end of civilization. Like, this is one of the best in-game dunks I've ever seen.
Yep. He just goes up, and then when most people stop to try and dunk, he elevates like another 8 inches over the top of that. It's just incredible.
It was. But I also thought about going with me and you for loser of the weekend. We have not given OU women's basketball any love on here. And they're balling, man. I watched a bunch of that game against Kansas. Another nice win over a top 25 team. Jenny Baranczyk has the Sooners 14-2. I looked up I did some digging, Ted. 7th leading scoring team in the country. 86 points per game.
They're like playing some fun basketball last year, weren't they? Their offense. Yeah.
They score points. They're fun to watch, man.
Yeah. So, light it up from 3. They got a shot.
We'll see. We need to get Coach Baranczyk on here at some point. Maybe for the tournament or something like that. But my loser of the weekend, all of you that wanted the Thunder to tank, all the haters that said they were going to win like 22 games or whatever, I told you to take the over, people. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's too good, ladies and gentlemen. And we're recording this before the Thunder's game against a Kevin Durant-less Brooklyn Nets. But they're starting to look frisky, Ted.
Yeah.
They're starting to look a little frisky. Thunder with 2 wins on a back-to-back dismantled the 76ers on Thursday, 133-114. Put it on the Bulls Friday night, 124-110. And this just in, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, very good at basketball. Very, very good. Are you back in? You watching? Come on, man.
I'm back in. I've started to watch some of the games. Now, I'm trying to remember, did you say that I think you said that SGA's got a legitimate shot at the scoring title, right?
Yes, and people told me I was stupid when I said
right.
Now, the only problem is Luka Doncic's usage rate is like insane, almost incomprehensible. So, but he's got a chance to finish second. I don't think he's going to score more than Luka, but he had 37 against the 76ers. He only had like 21 against the Bulls. But I think with what I've seen, and I'm not an NBA expert or a hoops expert or anything like that, he's one of, at the very least, like this season, the 10 to 12 best players in the league. He's going to be an all-star starter. He's going to be a starter on the Western Conference All-Star team. And did you hear Doc Rivers talk about him after the Philly game?
No.
I mean, Doc Rivers basically was like, we tried everything. Like, nothing worked. We tried everything. Nothing worked. Guy's amazing. Like, just hearing a coach of, Doc Rivers has been around the block, man.
Yeah.
Hear him talk about him like that was cool. I was just like, yes. Getting fired up. Giddy, torch the Bulls. Getting excited, man. Now, I don't want to get too excited, but all of a sudden you look, Thunder 20-23, half a game out of that play-in. Just saying.
They'll make
Pretty interesting.
They'll make it to the play-in. I'm anxious to see what happens whenever Mike Holmgren's son finally heals up and is able to get into the mix. What's the prognosis on that?
They still, like, the organization's stance on that is still he's not playing this season.
Yeah. But
he should be returning to the practice floor very, very, very soon.
Good.
So, but like, it does seem like Giddy's starting to figure some things out, right? He had 25, 10, and 6 against Chicago. But the thing I like, he looks like he's more aggressive. He's developed like this bag of floaters, like from all kinds of different angles with both hands. He seems to be figuring out how to play off Shai, because it kind of looked like the sophomore slump was happening for him. Mm-hmm. Looks like he's kind of worked through all that, and he's starting to play some better basketball. Jalen Williams, and I've heard several people on different NBA podcasts talk about him, like, and I don't even think it's really a debate. Like, he's a top 5 rookie right now with what he's doing on both ends of the floor. Like, the dude he's going to be part of this core moving forward. Like, I'm extremely excited about him. So just a lot of excitement.
Is Giddy still, he's just like 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which didn't stop. I don't know. I tweeted it. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a woman, Giddy did the post-game interview after the Bulls game, and he's walking to the tunnel, and there was a woman that grabbed his arm and was trying to be chosen, Ted. Like,
had that look, huh?
Like, it was not subtle. That's the best way I'll put it.
Oh, that's great. Good for him.
It was, I think the Timothy Chalamet of the NBA is going to be, I think he's going to be just fine in that department, if I had to guess. But
that's great.
I will say this. If you are a Thunder fan and your attitude was, I'm not really paying attention until they're good again, I would highly recommend that you come back into the fold now and start watching, because it's a very entertaining basketball team. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is turning into one of the stars in the league. So I'm just saying, if you've been holding out for them to be good again, they're not going to win the title or anything like that. They're not going to make a deep run in the playoffs. I don't see that coming, but they're fun to watch, and the dudes play hard. Like, they're really entertaining.
And it's a good time to have one of the up and coming stars in the league, because it feels like the previous generation. Now they're still playing good, but like, those guys are getting close, right? The guys where it's the same all-star game year in, year out, it's the same exact guys. Like, that group is getting up there in age, and some of the younger guys are starting to make some waves, and SGA is one of them.
Yeah, he made Harden look old, and that's not like Harden's has ever been an elite defender by any means. Don't get me wrong, but he made Harden in some of those possessions. He made him look like he was standing still. I was like, whew. So just come on back, people. Thunder up. Let's all do it together. Come on back.